Have you ever noticed this? You go to sleep, you're out, and then, as if someone had programmed an invisible alarm, you open your eyes always at the same time. Usually, between 2 and 4 a.m. the room is quiet, the whole house asleep, but your body seems like it's been startled. Heart racing, mind waking up too fast, and that annoying feeling of, well, there goes my night. And the worst part is that a lot of people accept this as a sentence. Oh, it's age. After 70, it's just like that. But in practice, this pattern of waking up at the same time usually points to something else. It's not just lighter sleep. Often, it's the body going into alert mode at the wrong time, as if it senses danger, even without you dreaming of anything scary. The name many studies use to explain this alarm is nighttime cortisol. Think of it as a stress hormone that, when it rises at the wrong time, gives your body a push. It speeds things up, activates your mind, and just like that, you wake up even though you're tired. And here's the part that changes everything. If the cause is this alert spike, the solution doesn't have to be knocking yourself out with heavy stuff. The focus can be calming the system behind the scare, helping the body understand the night is safe, that it can keep sleeping. Today I'm going to show you 5 well-known options that many people already use or have heard of, but tend to use the wrong way, at the wrong time, or without the right logic behind it. The idea here is simple. Instead of fighting sleep, we work with the body, reducing that internal agitation that shows up in the middle of the night. And I'll do this in a very practical way. How each one works, why it might help, the best time to take it, and, when it makes sense, which foods naturally contain it. Before I begin, tell me 2 quick things. Where are you watching from? And is your bigger problem falling asleep? Or staying asleep without waking up? Also, write down what time you tend to wake up. I read that because often, just recognizing this pattern already brings some relief. It's not nonsense, it's not weakness. There's logic, and there's a path forward. Now, yes, let's go to the list. Now, just a quick agreement before the list. When I say medications here, I'm including some very common supplements too, the kind many people buy over the counter, and after 70, that calls for extra care. Because what's natural doesn't always suit everyone. If you take daily meds, have kidney problems, fluctuating blood pressure, heart arrhythmia, diabetes, or use thyroid or blood-thinning medication, the safest thing is to check first with someone who already follows your health. The idea is to help your sleep, not complicate your routine. Let's start with the first on the list, which is simple, but many people underestimate. Magnesium glycinate is a type of magnesium that tends to be more gentle on the stomach. And it helps because magnesium plays a role in relaxing the body and slowing down the mind. Think of it as support to help your body shift out of two-wired mode. When magnesium is lacking, the body becomes more sensitive. Any tension turns into discomfort. Muscles don't relax properly, and the brain also gets more agitated. Then, when the middle of the night hits, a small alert spike is enough, and boom, you wake up with a racing heart and the feeling that your sleep got weak. Magnesium isn't a knockout drug. It works more like a foundation. It eases some of the body's tension and helps the nervous system be less on edge. The best time for many people is about an hour to an hour and a half before bed. And the trick is to make it into a simple ritual: dimmer lights, a glass of water, or a caffeine-free tea, and magnesium in the mix. And here, consistency makes a difference. Some things work better when you take them daily, for a while, and let your body respond. In food, you find magnesium in dark leafy greens, seeds like pumpkin seeds, nuts, beans, whole grain rice, and bread, and even in pure coconut. Eating well helps a lot. But for those with very broken sleep, sometimes the supplement brings more consistency. And one important caution: People with kidney problems need to be careful because the kidneys help regulate this in the body. And if you use thyroid medication or certain antibiotics, magnesium can interfere with absorption when taken together. In that case, spacing out the times is usually the best idea. Now let's go to the second one, which is perfect for those who say, "My body even gets tired, but my mind won't shut off." L-theanine is a substance that naturally exists in green tea. It often helps calm thoughts without making the person feel groggy the next day. You know when you lie down and your mind starts worries, old conversations, bills, family problems, tomorrow's to-do list? Theanine helps turn down that mental noise. And that's really useful for people who wake up in the middle of the night and can't fall back asleep because their mind kicks in and starts over. The best time is usually half an hour to an hour before bed. And here's a detail. Many people think, then I'll drink green tea at night. But green tea has caffeine, and caffeine, even a little, can disrupt sleep for some people. That's why, to use theanine at night, capsules or caffeine-free powder are usually more practical than the tea. In real life, theanine appears more in green and black tea. But because of the caffeine, these teas might be better earlier in the day. At night, the idea is to avoid anything that wakes up the body. And be careful. If you have low blood pressure or already take medications that lower blood pressure, it's good to monitor how you feel. And if you take anxiety meds or anything that causes drowsiness, mixing everything without guidance. The goal here is to sleep better safely. Now the third is for those who feel like they've been in a state of tension for a long time. That old fatigue, as if the body never really rests. Ashwagandha is a plant used in capsule or extract form. It's not the kind of thing that hits right away like a sedative. It usually works more like a deep adjustment, helping the body react less to stress. Think of it like your body has an overly sensitive alarm. Anything becomes an alert. At night, this alarm might go off and wake you up. In some people, ashwagandha helps reduce that sensitivity over time. It tends to work best when the problem is a pattern, not just a bad night. People who are constantly worried, tense, and carry that physically tight shoulders, clenched jaw, shallow breathing, racing mind. In that kind of case, it can help a lot, but usually needs consistent use for a few weeks. The most common time, when the goal is better sleep, is about an hour to an hour and a half before bed. And here's a simple tip. Taking it with a light snack can help, especially something with a bit of fat, like yogurt, nuts, or a spoon of peanut butter. It's not about heavy eating. It's just to help the body absorb it better. In day-to-day food, ashwagandha isn't something common like food. It's usually a supplement. And here's the most important caution. People with thyroid problems, autoimmune diseases, or who are very sensitive to supplements need to go slower. Starting with a smaller dose and monitoring tends to be wiser. Notice how these first three fit together. Magnesium helps the body release tension. Theanine helps the mind turn down the volume. And ashwagandha helps the body be less reactive to stress over time. And it's not about taking everything at once. The best approach is to pick one, test it for 7 to 14 nights, and track the result. What time you went to bed, what time you woke up, how many times you woke up, and how you felt in the morning. That gives you clarity. In the next section, I'll talk about the two that are left. And these two tend to be really interesting for those who always wake up at the same time with that feeling of shock in the body. I'll explain how to use them, the best timing, and which foods contain them when it makes sense. Now let's go to the two that are left. And I'll tell you right away, these two tend to draw attention exactly because they speak directly to that pattern of I wake up at the same time, as if my body had been startled. The first one is phosphatidylserine. Ugly name, I know. But the idea behind it is very simple. It's a healthy fat that's part of our cells, especially brain cells. And why does that matter? Because it's the brain that sends the message to the whole body about safety and danger. When this communication gets too sensitive, any small signal turns into an alert, and then, in the middle of the night, your body can switch into that mode. Wake up, something's wrong, even when nothing is actually happening. In some people, phosphatidylserine helps reduce this sensitivity. It's like it helps the system not react so strongly to small stimuli. A lot of people describe it like this. It feels like my body stops looking for problems all the time. And when that happens, that spike of agitation that breaks sleep in the middle of the night tends to decrease. The best time for most people is usually 30 minutes to an hour before bed. And here's a practical detail. A lot of people do better taking it with a light snack because the stomach handles it better and the body absorbs it better. It's not a second dinner, okay? Just something simple. A yogurt, a piece of fruit with some nuts, or a small piece of cheese, for example. Now, about food. You can find phosphatidylserine in small amounts in some places, like eggs, certain fish, and soy-based foods. But in food, it's usually very little. So, when someone is looking for a more targeted effect, they usually go for the supplement form. And here's the real-life caution. If you take blood thinners, have a history of very low blood pressure, or already take sedatives and medications that affect the nervous system, it's best to get guidance first. Not because something bad will definitely happen, but because it's smarter to fit this into your routine safely. Now the second one, which many people think is too simple until they try it. Glycine. Glycine is a type of amino acid, a substance the body uses in many functions, and for sleep, it usually helps in two easy-to-understand ways. First, it helps the body cool down a little internally, and that cooling is a natural sleep signal. It's like the body understands. Now, it's time to rest. Second, it tends to calm the system, reducing that internal tension that shows up out of nowhere, especially when you lie down. The way to use it is usually very simple too. Generally 20 to 40 minutes before bed. Many people use it in powder form, mixed in water or in a caffeine-free tea. It has a mildly sweet taste, so it's usually easy to take. And the goal here isn't to knock you out. It's to help you slide into sleep and help the body avoid triggering alert mode in the middle of the night. In food, glycine appears a lot in things related to collagen and gelatin. You know regular gelatin, well-made broth, those long-cooked stews, chicken with skin, meats with more collagen. All of that usually contains more glycine. A lot of people also use powdered collagen, which can have glycine. But to feel a more specific effect on sleep, some people prefer separate glycine because it's easier to fit into the routine. Caution, in general, it's usually well tolerated. But every body is different. Some people, if they overdo it, might get looser stools or discomfort. So the rules start with a small amount, observe, and only then adjust. And if you have diabetes, for example, or take a lot of medications, it's worth checking before so you're not mixing everything in the dark. Now, let me help you choose with logic, because that avoids wasting money and causing confusion. If your pattern is, I lie down and even fall asleep, but I always wake up at the same time with my body on alert, phosphatidylserine tends to be an interesting option. If your pattern is, I feel my body restless inside, like it doesn't shut off, and I want something simple to help me sleep and make the night more continuous, glycine tends to be a good start. And if you're thinking, can I take everything together? The best approach, especially after 70, is not to do that. The smartest way is to choose one, usage for 8 to 14 nights, and write down the results. Really write them down. In a simple way: what time you went to bed, what time you woke up, how many times you woke up, and how your morning felt. That gives you clarity. And here's one more point that's golden. It's no use having the best supplement in the world if you're doing two things every night that go against your sleep. So, along with this, I'll leave 3 basic and easy adjustments that boost everything. First, try lowering the lights in the house toward the end of the night. Bright lights and glowing screens keep the brain on. Second, avoid coffee, caffeinated tea, and chocolate from late afternoon on, because for many people, that keeps acting for hours afterward. Third, if you wake up in the middle of the night, don't grab your phone. The phone is like pouring gasoline on the brain's alert mode. If you need to get up, use dim lighting, move calmly, and get back in bed without waking up the whole world inside your head. You got the central idea. It's not about forcing the body to shut down. It's about easing off that internal alarm that goes off in the middle of the night and throws you out of sleep. And when we look at the 5 I showed you today, they form almost like a set, but each one addresses a different part of the problem. Magnesium glycinate acts as a foundation for relaxation. It helps the body release tension, makes the nervous system less on edge, and creates a calmer setting for sleep to happen. L-theanine is the best friend of people who lie down and their mind turns into a loud TV, or who wake up in the middle of the night and in 2 minutes are thinking about everything at once. It usually turns down the volume of racing thoughts without that heavy feeling the next day. Ashwagandha, on the other hand, works more like a background adjustment. For people who've lived for years with stress stuck to their body, it can help reduce that reactivity over time. But the stronger improvements usually come with consistency, not overnight. Phosphatidylserine tends to be helpful for that very specific pattern of always waking up at the same time with the body on alert, like it's been startled. In some people, it helps the system become less sensitive and not so quick to flip into watch mode in the middle of the night. And glycine is the simple and direct option that many people like, because it fits easily into their routine. It tends to help the body settle into sleep and keep the night more continuous, with fewer interruptions, and without that groggy feeling the next day when it works. Now, the part that avoids the most frustration is the way you test. If you mix everything at once, you won't know what helped you, what made no difference, and what maybe didn't suit your body. So, the smartest path, especially after 70, is to pick just one to start with. Use it for 1 or 2 full weeks. And observe in a simple way what time you went to bed, how many times you woke up, what time was the worst awakening, and how your morning felt. A lot of people are surprised because the improvement doesn't always come as a miracle, but as clear progress. First you fall asleep more easily, then you fall back asleep faster when you wake up, and only after that the night really starts to stay whole. If you want a very practical logic to decide where to start, think like this. If the problem is body tension and light sleep, magnesium usually makes sense as the first test. If the problem is racing thoughts, theanine is usually a better choice. If you feel like stress became your default state long ago, then ashwagandha could be a try, but with patience and consistent use. If your pattern is waking up at the same time with that sense of alertness in your chest, phosphatidylserine tends to stand out more. And if you want something simple to help you fall asleep and make the night more continuous, glycine might be a good start. And here's a quick but important warning. If, along with these awakenings, you snore very loudly, wake up choking, feel shortness of breath, have strong palpitations, or wake up with chest pain, then it's worth checking things more carefully, because there might be something going on that no supplement can fix alone. And in a very grounded way, if you already take daily medications, the ideal is to fit anything new in safely. Wetud Dung blind testing. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me what your pattern is. Do you struggle more to fall asleep or to stay asleep? And what time do you usually wake up when it happens? If you write that down, I can tell you which of these 5 usually fits that kind of night better. And if this content helped you understand that it's not just old age, and that there's logic behind what you feel, stay tuned here, because the next step is to build a simple nighttime routine that makes these effects even stronger without complicating your life.